A little bit of backstory. I, 23-year-old female, have been married to my husband, 23-year-old male, for 4.5 years now. We own our own place. My high school friend, let's call her Amy, 21-year-old female, recently moved in with us about a month ago due to bad living situations with her family. She has a toddler who is also my godson. She said she would be here for about a month. Amy is not independent at all and is still living out her immature streak. She doesn't buy her own groceries, food, laundry detergent, toilet paper, tampons, etc., so she has been using my husband's and my stuff, which, in this economy, has kind of been affecting us financially. I have tried to calmly bring it up, but I hate confrontation and am just a plain doormat. My husband and I have been arguing a lot lately due to this. Amy is barely home, as she is usually out at bars or sleeping with other guys. My husband and I recently noticed that small items were moved around in our room. Our bedroom door has been left open. We always leave it closed for multiple reasons, most of which don't pertain to her specifically, mainly safety. Hygiene items are missing from our bathroom, and pretty much just the house is left a mess. We are very clean people and like to keep our house a certain way. We understand having a kid makes that hard, so we are lenient in some things. So, my husband installed a camera in the kitchen that can see our bedroom door. We did not tell Amy since, well, it's our house, and we wanted to see why things were in disarray. We notice every day she is home, she goes into our bedroom. However, we can't see exactly what she is doing due to the angle of the camera. I have brought up to her that our bedroom door has been left open, and each time she responds, "I don't know how, I didn't go into your room," or, "Oh, it was already open this morning." So I know she lies straight to my face. Now to the main point of this story. Today, my husband calls me and asks if I had her go into the room for any reason, and if I asked her to get something out of my nightstand. I said no. Then he tells me to go check the camera. I do, and it shows her going into the bedroom, over to my nightstand, then back out. She was in for less than 4 seconds. Didn't look around, only cracked the door enough for her to fit through. Opened the drawer. You could hear it clear as day on the camera, and it's a very unique sound, as they are old solid oak nightstands with no sliders. Then walked out with something under her shirt. She knew exactly where she was going and what she was going to get, like she had done it before. I immediately got mad and assumed she stole the cash that I had in there, but knew I'd have to wait to get home after work to check. 15 minutes later, my husband calls again and says, "Go look at the view camera." And what do I see? Her rinsing my vibrator in the kitchen sink, drying it with the hand towel, then going back in the room to put it away. I am completely disgusted, astonished, violated, just no words. And what can make it worse? Just yesterday, she tested positive for a vaginal bacterial infection and was given antibiotics. I have no idea how many times she has done this, since she has been living with us for a month, and we only put the camera in a couple of days ago. I just got done at urgent care to get tests. I should know the results in a few days. Anyway, I am at a loss because I don't want her to be in the streets, but she's 100% lost my trust forever. Furthermore, she's jeopardized my health, my husband's health, our relationship, and proven to be completely mentally immature. I'm entirely sickened by the whole situation. I need to kick her out, but I don't know how to go about doing that. She has my godson, but I don't know how I can ever have a normal friendship with her again. Please, any advice? Now for an update. My husband took me out to dinner last night, and we discussed. We waited for Amy to get home and asked her if she had anything she would like to tell us. She said no. We then told her there was a camera that was charging in the house, and we saw her go into my nightstand. She got silent, so I asked what she was doing. She took a while to respond, and after some pushing, she said it was awkward. She then told me that she was curious as to what I use. I asked her what she meant. She said toys. I asked her why she didn't just ask me, as I'm a very open person. She said she felt awkward. I then asked her why she rinsed it and sniffed it. She said, because I touched it. I told her it doesn't make any sense why she would do any of that. Why wash it after handling it and not before? Why even go in my personal area in the first place? We, of course, told her she had to move out because the trust is completely gone and I do not feel comfortable having her in our home anymore. My husband was a champ. Every time I started to shut down, he took the conversation over. I am just still unsure what to think. I told her I don't trust her at all that she didn't use it, but she insists that she just took it out to search what type and brand it was. I can't wrap my head around any of the details. She will be dropping my godson off with his father to watch him until she can find a place. I asked her about some options, all to which she said it's not a possibility, and kept insisting she will just live in her car or move somewhere else without her son. I feel so guilty, and I can't help but think that it is purposeful to make me feel this way. But, as a ton of comments said, I need to put my marriage first, so I am sticking to my ground. Thank you everyone who commented. Believe it or not, it was very helpful, and I tried to get through them all, but there are so many, so it will probably take me a few days. I laughed at some of the spite ideas, and if I weren't in fear of legal or social repercussions, it would be hilarious to watch. As for the matter of the item itself, I will be giving it to her as a parting gift, and maybe even ask her to buy me a new one once she gets on her feet. And to those who think this is fake or bait, I wish that were the case. I truly do, as the details are hard for even me to believe, and they just keep getting weirder. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. No, you probably will never have a normal relationship with her again. But why would you want one? She treats you terribly. You sit her down and tell her that she needs to leave. It is up to you two to decide how much time to give her. You also will want to look into the eviction laws in your state to determine how or if you need to legally evict her if she has tenants' rights. I am kind of 50-50 on bringing up the camera. Part of me thinks that you could bring up the camera, but say it was in your room so she knows she is caught. And this might also help to deter her from doing something in retaliation after you tell her she needs to leave. If you do bring up the camera, I definitely would not tell her where it is, or tell her it was in the bedroom. Comment 2. Yeah, show her the video and tell her to pay up. She owns the vibrator now, and she will pay for your visit to the gynecologist to check for a shared infection. While you are doing that, your spouse puts a lock on the bedroom door and chains the fridge. Give her a freaking cooler with some ice in it and start the eviction process. Now, for the update. It's been just over 2 days since Amy moved out. I'm still trying to process everything. My husband and I agreed to meet her at a local diner to return some of her stuff. Walking into that diner and seeing families and couples enjoying their meals felt weird. It was such a big difference to the awkwardness I was feeling between Amy and me. She arrived late, looking messy and slightly panicked. The first thing she asked was about her son, which was kind of annoying. I handed her a small box containing her personal items. I had included the vibrator wrapped in a note that said, "Hope you find a better use for this." Her expression shifted from relief to anger, and she started shouting in the diner. I could feel other patrons turning to watch, creating an uncomfortable scene. My husband and I stayed calm, knowing we needed to keep our cool. She accused me of being a terrible friend, and the argument just got worse, drawing even more attention. My husband stepped in, reminding her of the boundaries that were crossed while she lived with us. She had the nerve to say that she was just curious and didn't mean any harm. I told her that curiosity doesn't justify disrespecting our privacy. A waitress came over to ask if everything was okay, but we just waved her off. Amy then threatened to tell my family about the incident, trying to manipulate the situation. I calmly pointed out that we have the video footage if it comes to that, which shut her up for a moment. Her confidence crumbled, and she muttered something about being better off without us. After that, my husband and I decided it was time to leave. We felt a sense of relief that it was all over. A few days later, we got a call from Amy's father, expressing his concern for her well-being. He mentioned that she had been staying at a friend's house, but hasn't been the same since moving out. It sounded like she was playing the victim with him, too. Around that time, she started posting vague, angry messages on social media, hinting at betrayal and loss. I decided to take screenshots of the posts for our records, just in case. During a family dinner at my parents' house, I overheard my sister talking about Amy's social media posts. She was expressing concern for Amy, completely unaware of the full story and my side. I explained the situation to my family, making it clear why Amy had to leave. Their reactions were a mix of shock and disbelief, but my parents sided with me, thankfully. About a week later, I found out that Amy had launched a GoFundMe campaign claiming she was in a tough spot and needed help for her son. I found out that she was not just asking for money, but also spreading lies about my husband and me to gain sympathy. I shared the details of the GoFundMe page with my husband, who suggested we respond publicly. We decided to draft a statement clarifying the situation and posted it on our social media. To our surprise, the statement went viral among our friends and family, leading to mixed reactions. Amy responded with a series of angry posts, accusing me of betrayal and trying to ruin her life. My friends rallied around me, sharing their support and calling out Amy's antics. Within days, the GoFundMe campaign lost traction and the donations were dwindling. I got a message from one of Amy's friends asking for clarification on the situation. We discussed the details, and the friend expressed disbelief at Amy's version of events. As all this drama unfolded, Amy's father reached out again, asking to meet with my husband and me. We agreed to discuss the matter, curious to hear his perspective. Now we're just waiting for this potential meeting to happen. I'm getting ready for what might be another confrontation. To answer a few questions, Amy did not have a history of this kind of behavior. The narrator and her husband had no prior issues with her, which made the situation more shocking. They did not have a written lease, but they expected her to respect their home. The narrator's parents were concerned about the situation, but understood the need for boundaries. Despite the public fallout, the narrator and her husband felt their marriage was stronger and were committed to moving forward together. Am I the idiot for refusing to share my gluten-free food with my pregnant friend? I recently found out I have a gluten allergy, which explains all of the stomach pains and aches I've had when trying to eat anything my whole life. Since finding out about the allergy, I've been making sure to avoid foods that contain even trace amounts of gluten, because even a small amount causes indigestion and, in some cases, vomiting. I was invited out to breakfast with some of my friends, and I let them know of the allergy so we could pick somewhere that actually had food I could eat. The place we settled on is a really high-end breakfast restaurant that has a whole separate kitchen, or at least section of the kitchen, for preparing their food without gluten. This was a lifesaver, since had that not been the case, I would have needed to skip the restaurant entirely. Included in my friends was a couple who recently got pregnant. We can call them Emma and Via. Via is the one who is pregnant and said she wouldn't be having much since she wasn't feeling very well due to the morning sickness. Everyone understood and offered to let her just have a few bites off their plates so she could still have something nice, even if it was just a little. I didn't agree to this though, since if they were going to be sharing with each other, I couldn't take part. I explained me not feeling okay sharing since I'd just be giving food without getting any, and all my friends seemed to completely understand, as well as agree that was very fair. When the food came out, everyone was sharing and having a good time. Via asked if she could have a bite of my food, and I politely declined sharing since I couldn't grab a different bite from anyone else. Via told me her pregnancy cravings were kicking in, and all she was asking for was a couple of bites, so I should have just given that to her. I told her again, I'd already explained I didn't want to share since my food was all I had. Emma told me I could just give her half and order more food if I wasn't satisfied with the amount left, and I again told them no. The gluten-free options were quite a bit more expensive than what they were eating, and paying for 2 plates just so Via could have half my food didn't seem fair. Via then told me just because I was on a diet didn't mean I could be selfish, and everyone else had no issues sharing. Thankfully, the rest of the people sitting there did help me stand up for myself and told Via. I'd already explained I wouldn't be sharing since no one could share back. While I'd ordered an egg scramble and some gluten-free pancakes, everyone else had normal pancakes, French toast, avocado toast, and other things I just couldn't eat. Via wasn't satisfied with their and my justification for why she couldn't have any of my food. She went on and on about how I'd turned the whole table against her and shamed her for being pregnant and hungry. I told her if she'd gotten her appetite back, she could always order herself a plate so she didn't need to rely on anyone sharing their food. Via went off at this and told me about all the things she's needed to pay for in preparation for her and Emma's baby. She told me I was being selfish and heartless because I didn't want to give her half my plate when I can afford to do so. This is where I may be the a-hole, because I told Via she chose to get pregnant and she chose to go through all of the issues that come with it. I didn't choose to have a gluten allergy, and I didn't want to go hungry because she wanted to eat off everyone else for free. Via started ugly crying, and everyone tried to calm her down, but she and Emma ended up just leaving without paying their portion of the bill. No one blamed me since I was right, but Emma sent me a message telling me I could have just said no and left it at that, instead of embarrassing Via in front of all her friends. I'm starting to feel very guilty. I didn't want either of them to leave. I just wanted her to stop trying to leverage her pregnancy against me as a way to get the only food I could eat. Am I the idiot? To add, trying to answer some of the most asked questions. Yes, Emma did get a plate. She claimed it was too sweet for Via, and she should grab a less sweet bite off everyone else's plate. The reason it went from one bite to half my food, which was one pancake of my two, was because she assumed my food was less sweet due to being gluten-free. I don't think that's the case, but that was just her logic. The group agreed we wouldn't be spending as much time with either Emma or Via. Ever since getting married, the two of their bitchiness aspects have combined and multiplied. We also did send them a Venmo request for their part of the bill. They've been told they can either pay the bill or they can never come out to eat with us again. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. I don't want to eat. I'll just scavenge off of everyone else. Now I'm hungry, so since you don't want to share, you have to buy me a plate. Wow, I can't afford to eat out. That's why you should buy my food. Everyone is mean to me, so my partner and I are going to dine and dash. Your response to Emma should be a Venmo, not the jerk, NTA. Your pregnant friend is really entitled. Comment 2. Not the jerk, NTA. Emma told me I could just give her half and order more food if I wasn't satisfied with the amount left. Emma can order her own dish. Gluten-free food is often more expensive than regular dishes too. Was she going to be paying you back for the food? Of course not. And to leave without paying their bill? No. Hell no. Now for the update. 2 days after the breakfast mess, I got a group text from my friends about a barbecue at Jake's house. Jake is my older brother, and he and his wife Rachel were throwing this party for their baby shower. So the group chat had everyone, including Emma and Via, who decided to show up even though things were still super awkward between us. I thought about whether I should go or not, considering how things ended at the restaurant. I even asked my sister what she thought, and she was like, "You're not going to let those 2 pregnant women starve, are you?" So yeah, after thinking it over, I decided to suck it up and go support my brother and sister-in-law. Jake's been working a lot lately and really needed this. On the day of the barbecue, I got there early to help set up, focusing on gluten-free options so I wouldn't have any issues. I got there and Jake greeted me with a hug, super grateful for my help. Rachel was already in the backyard trying to decorate with balloons and banners and stuff. I had to give her some major points for even attempting that while super pregnant. Anyway, I noticed that Emma and Via showed up together, looking a little awkward. The atmosphere was tense, but everyone was excited about the baby shower. At the barbecue, I overheard Emma chatting with a few friends, talking about the breakfast incident and how she thought I was being unreasonable about sharing food. Via approached me, trying to make small talk, but I just kept it polite and brief. I stuck to my gluten-free options while everyone else shared their food. A bit later, I heard Via complaining about cravings again, talking about needing certain foods. Then I overheard Emma suggest that Via should just take some of my food if I wasn't going to finish it. That made my stomach drop, thinking about the whole fiasco. When Jake announced it was time for gifts, I felt a little uneasy but tried to shake it off. Everyone gathered around, and I could see how excited Via was about the gifts being opened. I was watching Jake and Rachel unwrap a gift from Emma and Via, which was a big basket of baby clothes. Then things got kind of awkward when Via said she hoped the baby would be just like her, hinting at her cravings again. Emma laughed, but I felt the pressure building in the air. I figured I should step away for a sec, so I went to the kitchen to grab a drink. While I was there, I overheard Emma and Via whispering about how unfair my behavior was, and Emma said I should just lighten up since we're all friends. I went back to the group, and the mood felt a little off, like something shifted. When dessert time came, I stuck to my gluten-free stuff while everyone else had cake. Then suddenly, Via made a scene and asked why I couldn't just share a slice of dessert since it was just a tiny bit of gluten. I firmly told her that sharing was not an option because of my allergy, and it made the atmosphere really uncomfortable. Jake tried to smooth things over, but you could feel the tension. I could see Rachel whispering to Jake, looking worried about how the day was going. Emma jumped in, defending Via and suggesting I was overreacting. I felt everyone's eyes on me, the air thick with unspoken words. As the party wound down, Jake and Rachel thanked everyone for coming, but I could still feel that awkwardness lingering. Emma and Via left in a hurry, and I noticed them whispering to each other as they walked out. Later, I texted Jake, thanking him for the invite and offering to help with any future plans. He replied, saying he hoped to keep things smooth, but it felt like the friendship dynamic had changed for good. Edit. The awkwardness with Emma and Via continued during the baby shower. My brother Jake later told me that they confronted him about my behavior, claiming I was being unreasonable. He assured them that I was just trying to avoid any gluten issues, but they seemed unsatisfied. As for the group, they still support my decision but are unsure about future outings with Emma and Via. I appreciate my friends for understanding my allergy, and I'm hoping they'll figure out their issues with the couple soon. For now, I'm focusing on my own well-being and staying away from any gluten-related drama. Am I the idiot for having an afro and being accused of cultural appropriation by my friends? I am a 19-year-old female. I am also a Caucasian person, relevant, I think. I also have a natural afro, think Jewfro or something. I'm not exaggerating when I refer to it as an afro. It is a big round puffball of curls from my head. I have a friend group. Almost all of us knew each other in high school. I'm not sure exactly how relevant this detail is, but almost everyone in the group is a person of color. We get together every once in a while, and the last time we met up, the topic of cultural appropriation came up. Topics like this are not unusual for us, as we sometimes talk about political or societal topics. We all have the same left-wing beliefs, so it's easy for us to talk about these things. In the discussion about cultural appropriation, afros came up. Afros, more specifically, I didn't really think much of it for a while, as it makes sense to me that someone mimicking the hairstyle of people of color would be offensive. I didn't really contribute to the conversation except for nodding along as I agree with what they say, but can't really add to it as I am white. At some point in the conversation, I started to feel like people were looking at me. Not like conversational looks, but kind of like looking me up and down before glancing away and repeating. I brush this off as I've had issues with social anxiety when I was little, so most of the time when I feel insecure, I figure it's just my anxiety bursting through my medication to bite me in the butt. However, after a few minutes of feeling this way, one friend commented how weird it was that I have my hair in an afro despite being white. All of my friends are well aware that my hair is completely natural and I don't do anything to get it this way, so I was taken aback. A few other people chimed in saying stuff like I should straighten it and that I was adding to racial tension and making people see me and think it's okay to appropriate afros. I snapped and said, "I'm sorry I was born this way." I was using a loud tone, which I'm not proud of, as I myself am very adverse to anything that resembles yelling. I wouldn't say I yelled, but I was speaking noticeably louder than the volume we'd maintained. Some of my friends looked disappointed, while others looked kind of disgusted, and they all kind of just left after that. If anything, I think I am the jerk for how I responded, but I'm also asking if I am the jerk for having my hair like this. I talked to other friends or family about this, but I'm worried about them being disappointed in me. Any advice is appreciated. Now for an update. Thank you to all of you who commented, which by now is a surprising amount. I appreciate all of the advice you guys gave. I'm still trying to get through all the comments and haven't even begun to try to respond to any of them. Not entirely sure if this counts as an update. I've spent a while mulling over advice. An overwhelming amount of you suggested that I stop considering these people friends, along with a lot of people who suggested that they may have never been friends in the first place. Reading responses has given me a new perspective on this, as I came here expecting I am the jerk, but wanting more of a view of which for and why. To get it straight off the bat, I don't want to stop being friends with these guys, not unless it really comes down to it. I don't think this stems from prejudice or malice as some people believed. I think rather it came from ignorance and misunderstanding. I'm going to reach out to them in the coming days and try to explain my renewed view and maybe even share some of the comments with them. These are people I've known for years. We've helped each other through dark times and celebrated good times. If they're completely unreceptive, then I don't think we'll remain friends. But I don't want to lose these people for something that can be worked out. My hope is just that we can work through this and be better for it. Thanks especially to people expressing concern for my well-being and their views on similar matters. Even bigger thanks to those who express concern for my hair's well-being and the idea to use hair products made for people of color. For some reason that I can only attribute to sheer lack of attention for my hair and its health, I'd never really considered this. When I think about it, I'm coming out of this with friendship tips, world-viewing tips, and hair tips. I suppose more than anything right now, I'm just tired. I feel like I need to just curl up in my bed for 3 days. But this is a bump in the road that I wish to overcome. I highly doubt I'll update this. I decided not to post this on my main account, so it wouldn't be associated with browsing on this site for obvious reasons. I'll try to get back to at least some comments. I guess more than anything, this update is just to say thanks for caring enough to give me advice, whether it was a single word or 3 paragraphs. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. I am the parent of 2 mixed-race children, white and black. I'm the black parent. My daughter used to get grief over her natural curly afro. When people told her she was appropriating black culture, she said, "My mom is black. My dad is white. Which side am I appropriating exactly? The people who demean me for not being black enough, or the ones who spout discriminatory nonsense because I'm not white enough? Your hair is your hair, and no one gets to tell you differently or make you feel bad about yourself. Not the idiot." Comment 2. Not the idiot. To insinuate that your natural hair is an act of cultural appropriation is not only misguided but dismissive of genetic diversity within all races. Your friends should be championing your decision to embrace your natural self, not policing it based on their limited understanding of culture and race. It's time to surround yourself with people who appreciate and understand the true meaning of individuality and respect. Now for the update. It's been 6 days since everything went down with my friends. I thought a little time would help, maybe even make things blow over or something. So, 6 days later, I decided to reach out to them in a group chat. Not the best idea I've ever had, but I figured it was worth a shot. I suggested we meet up, and to my surprise, they agreed pretty quickly. We decided to meet at this local diner for breakfast, a place we used to hit up all the time in high school. I even remember the last time we were there. We spent like half our time arguing about whether or not pineapple belonged on pizza. Good times. Anyway, I arrived early to the diner, trying to gather my thoughts before they got there. I was super nervous, honestly. The place was packed, filled with families and friends enjoying their meals. I knew I had to do my best in this conversation, or at least try. When my friends arrived, they seemed hesitant and distant, like they were all smiles when they walked in and saw me, but there was this awkwardness in the air. I ordered a simple breakfast: bacon, eggs, toast, nothing fancy, while they chatted amongst themselves. I took a deep breath and decided to break the ice. I asked them how school was going and if they had any summer plans. They responded politely, but it was clear they were more focused on their food than on our conversation. I finally brought up the conversation we had about my hair. One friend, Mia, looked uncomfortable and shifted in her seat. I could tell I was in a tricky situation here. I explained how I felt misunderstood and that I didn't choose my hair type. The group went silent, and I could see them exchanging glances. It was like I had said something really dumb, and they were all trying to figure out how to respond. Amir was the one who finally spoke up, saying it's not about my hair, but about respect. That's when I really started to feel the pressure. I asked them to clarify what they meant by that, and Mia dove right in. She said it felt like I was ignoring the cultural significance of afros. I tried to express my appreciation for their culture, but I was stumbling over my words, tripping on my own dumbness. The tension grew as I noticed the waitress avoiding our table. Like, I get it, our table was a little heavy, but come on, we were still ordering food. Mia suggested we take a break from the conversation, which felt more like a dismissal than anything else. We switched topics to our plans for the summer, but the mood was heavy. It was like we were all just going through the motions. After breakfast, I suggested we go for a walk to clear the air, hoping some fresh air would help us out. As we walked, I noticed a group of people protesting nearby. The protest was about racial justice, and I felt uneasy as we passed by. My friends seemed more engaged with the protest than me, which kinda stung. I tried to join the conversation, but it was like they were speaking another language or something. They were all discussing their personal experiences with racism and cultural identity. One friend, Sarah, turned to me and asked if I understood their perspective. I hesitated, which led to another uncomfortable silence. We ended the walk without resolving anything. It was like we had just walked in circles, both literally and figuratively. Later, I texted them asking if we could talk again soon. They responded, saying they needed some space to think. I get it. We all need space sometimes. A couple of days later, I was at a mutual friend's birthday party. I overheard them talking about me, which was a bit awkward, but whatever. I learned they were discussing me and my reaction during our last meetup. The conversation shifted to whether I was a genuine friend. That hit hard, not gonna lie. I decided to leave the party early. I didn't want to be a downer on my friend's special day, and I definitely didn't want to hear any more about my so-called friendship. The next morning, I received a text from Amir asking to meet alone. I agreed, hoping for a chance to clear the air. We met at a nearby coffee shop. It was the kind of place that makes you feel like you're in a rom-com, honestly. He shared his concerns about our friendship. He mentioned feeling like I wasn't taking their feelings seriously. That cut deep, for real. I went home feeling like I had been punched in the gut. Like, I get what he was saying, but I thought we were all friends here. I just wanted to be cool with them, not make things worse. I guess I messed up, but trying to explain myself just makes me look like an idiot. I don't know if I can fix this, honestly. I don't know what else to say. Thank you for listening. Edit. I appreciate everyone who took the time to read my update. Many asked what I plan to do next. I intend to give them the space they requested while reflecting on my actions. Some suggested I educate myself about cultural significance and how it applies to me. I agree that it's essential for me to understand their perspectives better. It might not change how they feel, but it's still important. I will also work on managing my reactions and finding better ways to communicate. I recognize my mistakes, and I'm open to learning and growing from this experience. Thank you again for the support. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.